Well, the spring dating season is heating up, and there's a new trend out there. It's apparently encouraging singles to take kind of a more practical approach when it comes to finding the one.
So we have our local professional matchmaker, Camille Kostin, with It's Just Lunch Milwaukee, joining us live to explain the sofa theory. And Camille, I'm not going to lie, when I first read sofa theory, I was like, well, this is a family program.
Right.
Where are we going
What's
with
happening
this?
on that sofa, Camille?
But the way, you break it down, it makes sense. So for folks at home who are like, what are we talking about with the sofas? Explain this theory.
Right. Yeah. So the sofa theory was developed by psychologist Eleanor Greenberg, and it's to help singles that are feeling burned out, whether it's from endless swiping or a string of bad dates, help them feel less stressed. So she encourages daters to take a step back and think of it as you're buying a new couch. So think about it. If you are in the market for a new sofa, where are you going to go? To the furniture store. The same goes for dating. If you're single, put yourself out there and go to places where you're most likely going to run into other singles. And it's really all about mindset as well. So when you're like in the market for a new couch or something practical, you're not embarrassed by it, right? So when you don't feel bad or worry if you look bad, if you're still out there searching for the right person.
Yeah. And if you're like me, you have your sofa for a very long time. So it is quite the commitment. This is serious.
Very long time.
Right.
Of course, some people have more than one sofa in their living room, and that can be problematic.
Yeah.
But we'll leave that for another day. Let's talk about other pragmatic things people can do in their dating lives.
Yeah, well, first you want to be clear. Be clear about who and what you're looking for. And that really should start with you first. Ask yourself those questions. What are the positive traits that I'm looking for? What does the relationship I want look like? What do I deserve? What will I not settle for? What are some deal breakers? And be open and honest with what you're looking for too. But also you want to be realistic. Look, like visualizing a perfect partner will definitely help you figure out what kind of relationship you want. But you have to have realistic expectations. Luckily, you don't have to be perfect, so neither does your partner. And I always tell my clients that It's Just Lunch that it's okay if someone doesn't check every single box on your must-have list. Chances are they probably won't, and it's okay if they don't meet every expectation on a first date. That doesn't mean that they can't or won't, and it can't develop into something great. But you also want to be proactive. Lastly, this is one of my favorite times for singles to get out there. Spring is springing. We are so close. We are like almost here. Last week it felt like it, but it's a great time to get outdoors, meet new people. And look, like we all want to live in this Lifetime movie where Mr. or Mrs. Right is just going to show up magically on our front doorstep, but that's just not real life. So you have to put yourself out there, whether that's working with a matchmaker or online or going to events. But I've said this before with y'all, the only way you are not going to get into a relationship is if you don't try. So be proactive and get out there.
There you go. But you also have to have balance, right? Sometimes it can take over your whole life. So what about having, that balance of passion and practicality?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, dating's supposed to be fun and flirty and exciting and romantic, but it can be a lot of work. So you have to have that balance in between. And really, I suggest listening to yourself. If you're starting to notice that when you're going out on these dates, it feels more of like a part-time job or the swiping is just getting so ridiculous and you feel tired from it, give yourself a break. You want to be getting ready for these dates and thinking about dating with the butterflies in your tummy. So trust your gut, listen to yourself, but also remain positive because it just takes one person.
Yeah, my mom always says that. Camille, I really like I really liked what you said earlier about how like spring and this time of year is such a fun time to date because there's so much more to do. There's so many more opportunities. Yeah. So I've got to ask you, we talk a lot about like dating apps just in general on this show. And I feel like for a lot of people, they think that that's the only way to date. What are your tips for dating in the wild?
In the wild.
In the wild. You can always, go with your girlfriends out if you feel uncomfortable because look, not every person has that social personality where they feel like they can approach anybody. So I always suggest, that's why you could always work with a matchmaker if you feel like you don't have that kind of confidence to approach somebody. But when you're at an outdoor event, mingle. When the sun is out, I think everyone's just in a better mood. So put yourself in those positions where you can meet people or be around people that make you feel good about yourself and that can maybe nudge you in that direction as well too. Or like I said, work with experts that can help navigate you through these things as well.
Very good stuff. Thank you so much for all your tips, and I like the analogy.
The sofa theory. Now that we know what it is.
Right. Gives new meaning to couch surfing, I suppose. But